Are you ready, Internet? Are you really ready for this? Hello, Internet. Welcome to episode 21 of Verbal Graffiti with your host, Brian Glass, aka the B-Man. Have a shot of tequila for us. 21. I am not, though, because I am doing a month sober. I do so every year. I don't have a problem with alcohol. I do enjoy libations. I don't have much of them, though. I just like to cleanse my palate once a year, and it's a bit of a challenge, and who does not like challenging themselves? I would like to begin episode 21 by introducing you to perhaps my favorite content creator so far at 2024 on the internet, whatever the fuck this interweb thing is. She goes by the name Authentic Observer. I don't really know who she is. I think she might be a feminist. I disagree with a lot of the things she expresses, her opinions, but I do find her captivating. I love the way she edits her videos, and I steal a lot of her ideas. Remember a couple episodes ago where I was doing a black and white video, and she does things with vignettes and the way she moves in, out, and her lighting. I love it all. I love her voice because she's from Scotland, I think. So she's got like that British accent, and she just has a way with words, and I love words, and my language it's vomit like, so much so that whenever I use a word I'm proud of, I will literally pause the conversation and point out to the people I'm talking to the word I just used. Like if I use a word like a frivolous or whatever SAT word, I will literally just put the brakes and make sure everyone claps at me for using a $64,000 word. But the Authentic Observer, it's poetry, the way she uses words, and she's very cheeky. Her personality, she's so much funnier than I am. I don't know if she does comedy or not. It's like she should, because she should be selling out theater, like 3,000 seat theaters throughout the world. I'm just going to give you an example. She did a 2-hour video on a controversy involving one painting, and I listened to all 2 hours of it. Let me read you the description. Romance is dead and feminism killed it? Question mark. In 2018, the wake of Me Too, Manchester Gallery made the decision to remove Hylas and the Nymphs by John William Waterhouse because it endorses, quote, male artists pursuing women's bodies and paintings that presented the female body as a passive decorative art form, unquote. But is this actually sexist? Don't women want romance? Is there a point here? Or is it oversensitive feminists ruining everything for everyone again? Let's discuss. And she went on to do a 2-hour and 4-minute video on this one painting. And I was engaged throughout. I did not look at any other app while I was watching this video. I should have been working earlier today, but I was actually watching her because I'm just drawn to her energy. I love everything, her look. I'm not like sexually attracted to her, but she's very pale. And I like, I like busty Latinas, but she's just so like, she draws me in. And maybe it's just because I've kind of been interested in this I don't even know, there's like red pill manosphere and then feminism and then how they intersect and argue and hash it out on the internet. I've been watching a lot of those videos. I've also read recently, I have it here. What was that book I read? Oh, I recently read I have the book down here. The Evolution of Desire by Dr. David Buss. He's a evolutionary psychologist. It was a book about like mating strategy and like why men and women and like why couples couple and what we're attracted to and how we try to deceive each other. And he has studies from 27 different countries. So I've been going down this rabbit hole of the internet, and I will admit I am a bit of an art geek. I was converted to one in 2019 when I discovered that art galleries are free to go to, and I am frugal. That's a nice way of saying I'm cheap. And my two favorite artists are Alexandra Pacula, who I'll put some of her paintings here. She does these bright city landscapes with very vibrant colors. The pictures don't do it justice. You have to see her paintings in person. They're just very awe-inspiring, and they give me the feels. And I love metropolitan areas, so that hits me. And then I also like what's his name? I think it's Ryan McKenemy. I might be mispronouncing that, but he's worked with Ralph Lauren and Todd Snyder, who are like male fashion gurus. And a lot, he does these chalk paintings on cardboard, and they kind of have a Mad Men-esque feel to them. And I saw one in a storefront. I loved it. Started following him. Every time I give him a shout out on a post, he actually thanks me for it. So I like Ryan McMenemy. But when it comes to art, I'm just a guy. I look at it and I'm a Neanderthal. I go, I like the way that looks. I'm going to follow that person. The Authentic Observer does a 2-hour video, deep dive into it, goes into complete detail about what she's thinking when she looks at the painting, and I can't turn away. It's the opposite of a train wreck. It's almost like someone making a statue of David, being able to watch someone make that as they're making it, kind of almost like that Beatles documentary, the one on Apple, which I don't have, like the 8-hour one where they make what was it, Abbey Road or whatever album it was. I'm sorry, Beatles fans, but I think the Authentic Observer has 87,000 followers, and I have fewer than 50. So maybe I don't need to shout her out, but I don't think our audiences diverge. So go check out her video. Let me know what you think down in the comments. She's much more entertaining than I am. I think I'm going to reach out to her and ask her if she does stand up, because I think she'd be great on stage. All right, with all that out of the way, speaking of men and women, let's go to our first post I found on Reddit. Oh yeah, just another thing. Like, I struggled to make a Reddit post engaging for 5 minutes, and then the fucking Authentic Observer can pick some obscure painting that I've never heard of, that none of you have heard of, and still have me going down doing research on a painting for an entire night. Fucking, she's so good. All right. This one comes from the Men's Right subreddit. I'm preparing a list of legal, cultural disadvantages of being a man. Please write some. Hi, I want to make a list of disadvantages of being a man, problems of being a man, etc., that are usually unnoticed by society. Examples. 1. Older retirement age in some countries, although men live less. 2. Genital mutilation, circumcision. We've touched on that in a previous episode. 3. Expectation to pay in dates or in relationships. And 4. Paternity fraud. Some men raise children that are not theirs. I think that might be up to 10%. I don't know if that's true or not, etc., etc. Do you mind writing some? May I come across one I didn't think of? Thank you. Oh, I wrote some. I wrote a list here. So if I do, let me put it right here. So if I do look at the sheet, that's what I'm looking at. The first thing I thought of, where I don't think the babes realize how hard it is to be a guy, it's when we take a seat. I worked in an office setting for 3+ years for a company on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. I had a cubicle, but it was like a half cubicle, so we could kind of all see each other. So I'd come to the office in the morning, and I'm going to get very personal with this. I'm right-handed, but my ball sack is left-sided. What I mean by that is that when I take a seat, my balls and my shaft are always on the left side. That's where I have the most comfort. But there are times when I'll take a seat and my ball sack will be on the right side. And it's not so much discomfortable, but I do notice it on the right side. So what I'll have to do, and I've had to done this when I was working at that office, is like I have to get up, rearrange my junk, my jewels to the left side, and then take a seat again without my coworkers noticing what I'm doing. Because if they did, they might report me to HR and I would lose my job, which I ended up losing anyway. But that, I don't think women understand how frustrating that could be, having to make sure your sack is on the right side, or sorry, my left side before I take a seat. Because usually when I do sit down, like it just kind of, it naturally goes to that side. But sometimes Mr. Perfect, that's what I call my wiener, he gets a little freaky and wants to go to the other side. And I gotta, crane him back to where he belongs. Number 2, disadvantage of being a man is the ick factor. I don't know where this came from, but it's a new term. Everyone's using it. The ick. Oh, that guy's got the ick. I mentioned that in a previous episode. I heard that term and immediately I was like, oh no, women are going to use that. Sorry, babes are going to use that term to describe me. And it's very disheartening because when I hear it, I go, yeah, I kind of am the ick. So that is disadvantage number 2, Derek Jeter, respect of being a man. 3, I'll just retell a Bill Burr bit that he had. Bill Burr, one of my favorite comedians. He had a bit about feminism, speaking of the Authentic Observer, where he said that you never find a feminist in a house fire because men are expected to stay behind and protect the house and let the women and children leave. That's disadvantage number 3. Disadvantage number 4 is, oh, okay. So when I worked in Manhattan, I took the Metro North. So if you don't know, that's a train that goes from New Haven to Grand Central Station in Manhattan. And so many babes will put their purse and their handbag on the empty seat next to them. Maybe you notice this on a plane or a movie or somewhere in public where they'll use that. Their women will use their purse as a barrier so they won't have a stranger sit next to them. And if me as a guy, if it's like a crowded train, which the Metro North usually is, and I go to her like, hey, can you please remove your bag so I can have that seat? And she'll give me the stink eye, like, oh, I'm in the wrong. That I'm sorry. Like there's an open seat that you're covering with your handbag, and I'm not asking to sit on your lap. I'm asking for the open seat, and you get angry at me because you think your purse gets his or her own seat. It's like, fuck off. Pay for 2 tickets. Pay for 2 tickets if you want your purse to have that seat. If not, put it on your waist and let me sit down. I'm skinny. Like, you should be happy that I'm seated next to you, other than we don't like to criticize here. Actually, yeah, that's what we do here. You don't want a fatty sitting next to you, so be thankful that it's just someone like me who scrolls through Reddit for absurd posts. Learn how to pronounce your words, Brian. Number 6, legroom, right? Legroom. If you go to an older stadium, I'm only about 6 feet tall. I say 6 feet. That's what my license says. All my friends say I'm 5'11". But like, you have to crunch your legs up, and you kind of like, sometimes if you're in a plane, you gotta like do that thing where you kind of have to go to the side and squish. If you're a lady, you probably recognize that as a disadvantage to being a guy. But for someone who's tall and lengthy like myself, it's a disadvantage. It is a disadvantage. Number 7 is a big one. I mean, how do I say it? It's not all history, but specifically World War II. Men are expected to know the dates and details of every significant battle. As a guy, if you can't explain it how do I say this? As a guy, if you can't explain in significant detail all right, I'm going to do a jump cut because I did terrible there. Sorry. As a guy, if you can't give significant details of the Battle of the Bulge, do you even have 2 testes between your legs? I think not. Remove your man card. You are not a man. I prefer the Battle of Stalingrad because I'm a real man, but I digress. And lastly, mortgage rates. I don't know what, guys, we're expected to know how mortgage rates work. And I'll be honest, I have no idea how mortgage rates work. For me, if you have a mortgage rate of 6% and you're have a mortgage for $300,000, you should have to pay, let's see, $9,000 worth of interest. But that's not how it is. I think it comes out to something like $300,000. Like you're paying twice the amount in interest. And I don't like if it's 6%, why is the interest rate so much? It's very confusing to me. Maybe I'm not a man. I don't know. It's tough being a guy. Have some sympathy, some empathy for your other sex. Thank you. Let's get to a segment now. My junior year of high school, I was a starter on our JV basketball team. Our coach would always have us do a drill where we'd have to sprint from sideline to sideline 20 times in 60 seconds. Well, now I'm a street ball legend, and I'm going to bring the same drill to the pavement. Seven crosses in 15 seconds. I need to take up video gaming. I switched the batteries in the camera here so we could go for maybe an hour. I love the camera. We'll say though, batteries drain super quickly. I know we all bitch about our cell phones, but camera batteries, whoa, whole nother level. Let's get to the segment super quick because that first segment went real long. I think screw the 10, 15-minute time limit. I'm just going to go. And when we end, we end. Why put constraints on us here at Verbal Graffiti? Fuck its constraints. Learn how to speak, Brian. Learn how to speak. Stop talking to yourself in third person. But we're just going to go and we're going to wander. We're going to be a solipagant. That's one of those $64,000 words. Look it up. This one comes from the subreddit Need Money Now. Hey, I need to borrow $11. Pay back tomorrow morning. I need to borrow $11 via Cash App if possible. I'll pay back first thing tomorrow morning. Just a small bill I got to pay today. I completely forgot about, and my direct deposit doesn't hit until midnight. Thanks. You don't have Venmo? The fact that this is $11 and not $10 makes me think he's not bullshitting us. And anyone who is panhandling on the internet for $11 is the exact type of demographic we're trying to capture at Verbal Graffiti. That's why I read this post. I have more questions than answers for you, guy who needs $11. You don't have any sisters, brothers, parents, extended family, classmates, friends, congregation members, coaches, I don't know, neighbors that can lend you $11. The fact that you do not have anybody in your life that can give you a $20 bill or less tells me that you are the metaphorical gum stuck on the bottom of our sneaker when we're walking on the street. It's just nobody likes you. That should be your concern more so than the $11 bill you need to pay. Question number 2 that I have. This is a very numerical episode here at 21. $11 is very specific. It's not much money, though we're not here to brag about how much money we have at Verbal Graffiti. But $11 tells me it's not a real bill that you really need. It's not utilities. It's not rent. It's probably not gas. It's probably not a cell phone bill. It's probably, it cannot be an insurance bill, which tells me you're probably in school, grade school. So this is probably just a guesstimation on the B-Man's part, probably some type of a gambling bill with a classmate of yours. So you made a bet, you lost, now you need to pay up. And if you don't, I'm envisioning a Christmas Story, the scene where if you don't give this guy $11, you're going to get your ass beat like Ralphie did to Scott Fuckus. I think that was his name. Stone Cold Steve Austin style in the schoolyard, where he just jumps on top of him in his snowsuit and just whips his ass, and all Scott's friends scuttle away. If you don't get your $11, that's what's going to happen to you. So I would pay you the $11, but you didn't. Cash App, fuck out of here with Cash App. You got to use Venmo. You should have put your account number, username in the post, and then maybe you would have gotten the $11 from a generous member of the internet. This brings to light, a larger topic. Who do you give money to? I'm talking strangers, hobos on the street. I've talked a bit about hobos here, and I don't call them the unhoused because I'm funny. So I use real words like hobos and bums. If you go on a subway, first of all, I don't really give money to many homeless people because like I mentioned earlier, I am super cheap and frugal. But if you go on a subway and you yell out, "Showtime," and you bust your Bluetooth and you start doing a pole dance on the poles in the subway, or if you're on a street corner and you're doing some type of dance or jig or magical act, it's almost like you're doing a America's Got Talent audition for us passerbys. I am not giving you money, and the reason why is because you still have hope. And I'm not giving the hopeful money. Like if you're still dancing or doing a jig or yelling out to people, to me, that tells me you have too much energy. You have too much energy for me to be giving you money. Two, again, it's a numerical episode. If all the words on your cardboard sign are spelled correctly, I'm not giving you money, you hobo, because you clearly know how to spell, so you can clearly get employed. Therefore, you're not getting my money. Go apply for a job. Three, and this is a big one. If you're lying down on the pavement, sidewalk, or you're barefoot with your ankles are so swollen that they're like twice the size of cankles, that shows me you're in desperate need, in dire need of money and help. Therefore, those are the hobos I will give my money to. If I see your feet and they're open lesions, here's some money, here's some soup. I'll even converse with you for a few minutes and try to give you a pep talk, Friday Night Lights style. But you, $11, you probably really need the money. I wish there was an update post. I'm dying to know if you got the $11 and what the consequences were for not getting that $11 for whatever bill you had. Unfortunately, that's what happens on the internet. Someone puts something out there and then they don't respond with a follow-up. The internet can be so frustrating. It's the ultimate ghost. Till next episode, I have one thing to say. Go suck a fat one. Oh my God, I just scratched my voice there. Let's do it again. Redo. Go suck a fat one.